Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So the NBA draft lottery is literally just around the corner. So for today's video, guys, we got an article by Bleacher Report titled "One Trade for Every NBA Lottery Team If It Wins the #1 Overall Pick," which, of course, some teams have a better chance than others, but realistically, any team could win it, guys. So yeah, obviously, it's been a while since I've really been doing like heavy 2K videos and stuff like that. Doing a lot of like articles and discussion. That's because I'm mainly waiting not only for the draft lottery to release, so that way I can have more like realistic rebuilds, but also NBA 2K21 is just around the corner. So like a lot of my big time rebuilds I want to save for NBA 2K21, man. So if you guys don't mind dropping that like, it really does mean a lot, especially when I do a video that's not 2K related. It means a lot when you guys do drop that like, and of course, if you can subscribe, if you are new to the channel, guys, we are almost to 250,000 subscribers. I think I died there for a second, guys, but I'm back and alive, guys. Drop a like if you want Crispy alive. Sorry. Okay, let's just get going on this video, man. This is dragged on long enough. One trade for every NBA lottery team if it wins the #1 pick. Okay, so first one we have is the Atlanta Hawks, and I see a picture of Bradley Beal. I do like the idea of that fit. Depends what the trade is, though. We got the 2020 #1 overall pick, John Collins, Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter, Dwayne Dedmon to Washington for just Bradley Beal. I'm sorry, man. There is no way in hell I'm doing that trade if I'm the Atlanta Hawks. That is literally one of the worst trade proposals I've ever seen in my entire life. Bradley Beal is a fantastic player, guys. He's a great, 30-point per game shooting guard around there, at least historically, mid-20s. But straight up, man, like, to give up everything, because at that point, what was left? It's just Trae Young and Bradley Beal. While that obviously would be a great backcourt, you have nothing else left on the court, man. I'm not giving up all this. If anything, I'm using that #1 pick to draft Anthony Edwards, and he fits in, age-wise with what the team is trying to do. Because I'm not saying Bradley Beal's like old, but Anthony Edwards could literally be like the next Bradley Beal in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'd rather just do that. Plus, you keep John Collins and Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish was looking good towards the end before the shutdown and stuff like that, man. Kevin Huerter is a starting caliber shooting guard. It's like, why would you ever do this trade if you are the Atlanta Hawks? I'm sorry, man. Like, there is few players in the NBA that's worth that type of trade package, and Bradley Beal, how great he is not one of them. I would have to do something like, I could say maybe like the #1 pick and like Cam Reddish and perhaps Kevin Huerter. I'm not tossing John Collins in that deal, though, just because, at least the Washington Wizards, not only are they getting a draft pick back, because I do think Bradley Beal is going to be better than any like #1 pick in this draft, but they're getting a draft pick back, and they're also getting, Cam Reddish, who was a good prospect. That right there is a fair deal. The #1 pick and Cam Reddish. That's all I'm doing. Okay, yeah, bad trade. Next up, the Charlotte Hornets. I see Andrew Wiggins. That would be a very Charlotte Hornets thing to do, to give up the #1 pick in the draft for Andrew Wiggins. Just going to point that out. The trade is the #1 pick and Nicholas Batum, who I think is on the last year of his bitch-ass contract, to the Golden State Warriors for the 2020 first-round pick, Andrew Wiggins, Eric Paschall, and Jordan Poole. Okay, so it would definitely depend on where the Warriors are drafting at. Like, obviously, if they're drafting #2 or #3, that's a pretty big W right there, because you can still get, a whole bunch of talent at those spots. I mean, Wiggins would give the Charlotte Hornets, like, something at the small forward position. Right now, they got Miles Bridges, who's I still think has great potential, but has not really reached it yet. But once again, it's like, Andrew Wiggins is on a not great contract, and they're just getting out of one with Nicholas Batum. But, gives them something. Eric Paschall is kind of interesting, although I like PJ Washington a bit more as a starting power forward for that team for the future. And then Jordan Poole is like a prospect that, showed a little bit this past season, but didn't really show all that much. It would all depend where that Warriors team is drafting at. But even with that, man, I think I would rather just have the #1 overall pick and just not have Andrew Wiggins, and just kind of like have that salary cap going forward and try to do some things with that. So once again, I am not doing this trade if I am the GM of the Charlotte Hornets. Okay, next up, Chicago Bulls. I see Ben Simmons. Interesting. We got the #1 overall pick and Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. Oh my God, man. That is so much to give up, okay? I could see like the #1 pick and maybe Zach LaVine. But even that, because to me, Ben Simmons, I think Ben Simmons is very underrated. I feel like a lot of people hate on this man right here because he doesn't shoot threes, but I think he does a ton of other things out there, a lot of things that obviously the 76ers are going to miss in the playoffs. But at the same time, he hasn't really, like, done anything yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like from beyond a personal stats, mentality, he has not done anything. He has not really led his team yet. I mean, obviously they got knocked out by the Raptors. He's been injured a lot. I'm not giving up, a Zach LaVine who's can be a mid-20s point per game scorer for the next 10 years, Laura Markkanen, who finally is going to have himself a new head coach that literally could be an all-star caliber player and a #1 overall pick for Ben Simmons. No way, man. For this, Ben Simmons, I would have to do the #1 pick. And like I said, if I'm doing Zach LaVine, I also need something else back. It's not simply going to be just for Ben Simmons. I also want maybe like a Josh Richardson back, maybe Matisse Thybulle, somebody like that, man. But those three assets just for Ben Simmons, not doing it, man. These are really, really bad trades. I expect nothing less from Bleacher Report. Okay, the Cleveland Cavaliers. We got the #1 pick and Dante Exum to the Atlanta Hawks for the 2020 first-round pick and DeAndre Hunter. That's actually kind of interesting. That is pretty interesting, man. Once again, it depends on where the Atlanta Hawks are drafting at. But when it comes to this draft, unless you need like a center or a point guard or even a shooting guard like Anthony Edwards, there's not a ton of depth at the forward, wing positions, especially at the small forward spot. I don't know, like Denny Avdija, he's available, but like beyond him, it gets a little bit weaker later on. Like there's still really good valuable assets right there, but just nobody you want to take with like a top 5 pick or anything like that. Obviously, there's like Obi Toppin, who's probably more of a power forward here in the NBA. But it is kind of interesting because they do get DeAndre Hunter, who instantly gives them, a jack of all trades type of small forward that can really grow with their team out there, and they still get a pick out of it. If they were able to, upscale like an Obi Toppin with their pick, I would say that's probably actually a W trade. Now, for the Hawks to do this, they would really have to be set on wanting like Anthony Edwards, because obviously, like I said, man, it's a very point guard heavy draft, so they obviously don't need one of those. If they really want Anthony Edwards, then I would say you probably go for it in that case. Okay, next up, we got the Detroit Pistons. Messy Blake Griffin. Okay, it looks like we probably gonna unload his contract. We got the #1 pick, Blake Griffin, to the Knicks for the first round pick, Frank Ntilikina, Julius Randle, and Elfrid Payton. Okay, so depending on where that pick's at yet again, if it's like a top 3 pick, I would probably actually do it. Man, just because for me, I'm not like personally 100% sold on like LaMelo Ball. I would be okay if we end up getting like an Anthony Edwards or maybe an Obi Toppin. Some scenarios, James Wiseman, but probably not. I'm just kind of done with that type of center. But out of this, we do get rid of Blake Griffin, who, I love Blake, man. He's my screensaver right now, guys. He's my screensaver. But he's injury prone. He's a lot of money. And in return, we do still get a top pick. Frank Ntilikina might just need to change the scenario. I think Frank Ntilikina actually fits in with that bad boy style of basketball, but just with like that all-heart defense. Julius Randle, I mean, he was bad for the Knicks, but on the Pelicans, he was looking good. Elfrid Payton, somebody. We need some guard help out there. I'm probably going to do this trade here, guys. I would probably do this trade depending where that pick's at for the Knicks. Okay, next up, Golden State Warriors. The #1 pick, the 2020 second round pick, 2021 first round pick, 2021 second round pick, Andrew Wiggins to the Phoenix Suns for Devin Booker. I'm not doing this trade. The reason I'm not doing this trade is because it makes no damn sense, guys. They literally traded D'Lo away because he did not fit in position-wise with the team, and they were just kind of concerned with chemistry. That's why I went for Andrew Wiggins, who was a forward, because the idea was to run, Curry, D'Lo, and Klay Thompson at the 3. So in this case, by getting Devin Booker, how fantastic he is, once again, you have a guard playing the small forward position. Obviously, it could work. I mean, I don't think I'm doing this trade here, though, guys. It's literally the reason they got rid of D'Lo for Andrew Wiggins. D'Lo was a much better player than Wiggins is. It just doesn't make a lot of sense unless, maybe they have some other ideas out there. They think Klay Thompson can really run the 3. But if that's the case, why did you trade, D'Lo in the first place? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, next up, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. The #1 pick, Gorgui Dieng, Kyle Anderson to the Sacramento Kings for a 2020 first-round pick, and Buddy Hield. I actually do like this trade, assuming the pick is, within the realm of reason again. Just because, Kyle Anderson, from the Grizzlies standpoint, I actually do like Kyle Anderson a lot. But no, they get Buddy Hield, who could instantly be their starting shooting guard alongside John Morant. That just makes a lot of sense to me. You put Dillon Brooks at that 3 spot, you're kind of good to go right there. And then you also get a top pick, which I would personally use probably just like, if they could get James Wiseman, that'd be a big W. That'd be a big damn W, man. But yeah, that's actually a pretty solid trade. I would do that one. Okay, next up, Minnesota Timberwolves. We have the number 1 overall pick, Jake Layman, Naz Reid to the Atlanta Hawks for John Collins and Kevin Huerter. Assuming the Hawks wanted to do this trade, I would do this trade if I was the Timberwolves. You know, well, because that's the thing. It's like they could use that number 1 pick and go for Obi Toppin. At that point, though, I think it's a bit of a reach. I don't think Obi Toppin should be the number 1 pick in the draft. But that's really what they need is the power forward position. So by doing this, you do actually get like a sure, you know, future 20 and 10 guy for the next 5, 6, 7 years, man. John Collins alongside Karl-Anthony Towns. The floor spacing is great. Defense is atrocious, but I don't think Obi Toppin was going to bring that anyway to this team. That's not a bad trade. I do like this trade. Plus, Kevin Huerter could be a nice, you know, scorer off the bench too. Okay, next up we got the Pelicans. Number 1 pick, J.J. Redick, Jackson Hayes, Jerry Smiles to Utah Jazz for a 2020 first round pick, and Rudy Gobert. It's not a bad idea, I guess. I mean, Rudy Gobert obviously solidifies their center position for quite a few seasons. I've been saying forever now that I like Jackson Hayes a lot too, though, man. I feel like Jackson Hayes could be a special player here in the league. Plus, you got to give the first round pick. I would much rather just see the Pelicans go for a stretch defensive type of player like a Miles Turner. I feel like that's much better for them. Or even just like keep those other assets. And if you want a center, go for James Wiseman. If that's really like their route. I do think they should actually look to getting a shooting guard just because J.J. Redick and Jrue Holiday are both getting older. So, yeah, I don't think I'm doing this trade. Next up, New York Knicks. We got the first pick, 2021 first round pick, Mitchell Robinson, Bobby Portis, Wayne Ellington to the 76ers for Joel Embiid. Okay, so this is a little interesting for me personally. I'm not doing this trade because I like Mitchell Robinson. I feel like RJ Barrett's a nice piece on the Knicks. I'd rather them go for that number 1 overall pick and just build around that and, you know, not trade for any large contracts and see what's around 2021 NBA offseason. Joel Embiid obviously is a franchise center, top 2 center of the NBA. But with him, you do get an injury-prone player. You get a guy that, you know, I mean, once again, it's kind of the same realm as Ben Simmons. I need to see him lead. I need to see, if he gets past like the Boston Celtics, okay, it's a different story. But for now, if I'm the Knicks, I'm not trading for an injury-prone player. I'm just not. They cannot afford as a franchise, guys. They're gonna get their asses shipped over to to the Seattle SuperSonics like that. Not doing the trade. Okay, next up, Phoenix Suns. We got the number 1 pick, Ty Jerome, Frank Kaminsky to Chicago Bulls for 2020 first round pick, and Lauri Markkanen. Yes, I will do this trade. This team is so deep this draft class is so deep at the point guard spot that you could still get a really nice point guard later on with that draft pick. It's still going to be a lottery pick, but also this team really needs a power forward. Lauri Markkanen fits in that void for them just like that. Yeah, very nice trade. Do this one every single time. Sacramento Kings, number 1 pick for Harrison Barnes to the Magic for the 2020 first round pick and Aaron Gordon. Okay, so it's not a lottery pick. It's going to be like the 16th pick in the draft. And Aaron Gordon for the number 1 overall pick. And you got to give Harrison Barnes? Stupid ass trade, not doing it. Horrible. Aaron Gordon is fine. He is not worth the number 1 pick in the draft. Never. Okay, next up, we got the San Antonio Spurs. Just let me put this in perspective for you guys. Number 1 pick, I'm not saying this is like the deepest draft class, but let me just put this in a mindset like this. Aaron Gordon and a non-lottery pick for Kyrie Irving. Aaron Gordon, lottery pick, or non-lottery pick for Anthony Davis. Karl-Anthony Towns. Those number 1 picks, they tend to pan out. And they tend to be the superstars of the league. Yeah, sorry about that. Quick little rant on that. We got the Spurs with the number 1 pick. Rudy Gay, Patty Mills, Keldon Johnson, the Cavaliers for Kevin Love and Colin Sexton. Okay, I don't think the Cavaliers do this trade. I feel like the Cavaliers really do like Colin Sexton a lot. But from the Spurs standpoint, yes, I definitely do this trade. Because it allows you to, to just go out there, get like a future, I'm going to say a future all-star in Colin Sexton, who can instantly start on this team. But obviously, too, man, you can also run back. I'm not saying the Spurs want to do this, but you can run it back next season with a team of DeJounte Murray, Colin Sexton, DeMar DeRozan if he signs that player option, Kevin Love, LaMarcus Aldridge. That's an interesting starting 5. It's not a championship team. That's why I probably would not do this trade if I was the Spurs. I'd much rather them, trust their fantastic, draft staff out there and just go with that route. But, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting trade. I don't think I'm doing it, though. Okay, next up, we got the Washington Wizards. We got the number 1 pick, Thomas Bryant, Ish Smith to the Pacers for the 2020 second-round pick, unprotected Miles Turner. I mean, at that point, you just try to trade for Rudy Gobert. I feel like Rudy Gobert helps this atrocious defensive team more than Miles Turner does. And also, once again, like while it is a 2020 second round pick, that could actually be pretty valuable in the future. There's no guarantees. Like John Wall, Bradley Beal, an improved Rui Hachimura, Miles Turner, like that to me is not going to be like a top 5 pick in the draft in 2022. So I don't think I'm doing this trade here either, guys. I feel like a lot of these trades were really bad. Do you guys agree or disagree? Let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, let me know. What type of trade would you do for your favorite team, assuming they're in the lottery and the #1 pick? Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.